Well, dear students, it is the fourth video and we are going to cover the other types of barriers. In the previous video, we covered too much information plus the attentional barriers. Here it is emotional barriers. Indeed, emotions are very important. Every living thing, every living organism, and especially humans, are emotional. Shakespeare once said, just show me the man who is not obsessed by the emotions. Whereas, although emotions are good, they are zeal and fuel to the life, yet over ambitious, to be over ambitious, provocative, headstrong, bullying, that is uh, that is extremely unlawful plus unappreciated and equally harmful. These all include in the emotional barriers. Let's read this. Emotional reactions from either or both the speakers and listeners can prevent effective communication, mean they halt effective communications. It is difficult to put aside and not act on our emotions, but it is necessary. The writer says that it is difficult to finish, curb, or alleviate emotions, but we have to control our emotions. People say that the one who has controlled himself or has conquered himself can conquer the world. But the one who cannot conquer himself, he cannot conquer anything. Furthermore, try to work out what words, topics can trigger you stronger emotional reactions to, so you can create a plan of managing them. For example, mean to improve your emotions, if you feel that which kind of words, which kind of phrases, which kind of sentences can boost the people, and you also understand that what kind of expressions, words, moods can destroy the people. So verbally and non-verbally, emotional barriers are very important. A common emotion in regard to communication is fear, that the people are afraid. People often have the tendency to think that their opinion don't matter in the workplace, or that the people will negatively judge him if they speak up. It is a fear. Log sunenge to kya kahenge? I mean, everybody is afraid that if I speak, other person will think about me that I cannot speak English, what I think, clear, what the boss would think about it. Actually, such people are not worst become bad in a day. It is their grooming and their initial centers of learning or the places of working where the people have maltreated them, where they kept them under the constant insult and deprivation, and resultantly when the people find a place they become hyper, they take time. But this is not the case, and it is likely that the others around you will also feel too afraid saying things. They'll respect you when you do speak up. It is valuable to you and will be valuable to another person. It means that every person should not be afraid of the other person. You let yourself, boost yourself, and think that all they are the people and they are alike you. And remember this, if you are good in your duties and if you are up to the mark, people love you. And if you are not any more profitable for the people, they want, the organization won't appreciate you. However, you are very good speaker or you are a very polite person. The modern working environment has nothing to do with this. They just want how much money you are making for them and how are you useful for them or their organization. Next is cultural barriers. Cultural barriers can interfere with communication in a variety of ways. What are the cultural barriers? Let's culture is called a set of traditions, set of norms, rituals, ways of living that a community or society opts for years and they keep on developing it. That is called culture. For example, Indian culture, Indian Muslim cultures, Pakistani Muslim cultures, Pakhtun cultures, Chinese culture, American culture, Arab cultures mean set of beliefs and ideas and all. That's called culture. Culture barriers can interfere with communication in a variety of ways. Of course, cultural barrier is a huge barrier. For example, the people performing and living in Japan cannot live here. Their tradition and culture is different. The norms of communication vary between cultures, such as personal space. It is important to find common and ground in these situations. Well, cultures are not the same, they are reciprocal. For example, in Japan, people bow down before you, clear. In America, people love shaking hand, where in the West, they are over, which are not possible in the East, especially in restricted societies in Pakistan. People may from assumptions based stereotypes of other person's culture noise. I mean, people have not cleared understanding about the other's cultures and they think them that the people do this and they are this type of people. It is not correct. Let the person come, let him mix within you and talk to him, watch how they are living the life, then you will be find many similarities between you and them. Work culture is different between companies, which means you have to adopt or adapt to your company's cultures to communicate effectively. Well, there are cultures in the social life, but there are also cultures in the companies. The modern companies, for example, you go to a modern company like Telenor or others, or uh, you get into Reckitt and Benckiser or Unilever or Pactel or any company, you find that they people adopt different dress, they talk differently, their manner of working, payment, dealing, assignments, all are different. So it means that their communication is their culture is different. So the culture boosts the communication. Where there is a communicative culture, people boost them. The poets and writers and demonstrators and orators are born where the people are used to speak and where the people are shut, like in communism in China or Russia in the past, people didn't have anything. So there were not many people like that. Next is assumptions, jumping to conclusions, and premature evaluations. This is what a worst thing. Most of the people us face this because before we just assume, we just make guess, we make inferences. Those inferences may be right sometimes, often they are wrong, they are miscalculated, and and that's how the people reach to a very different confusion. For example, in Pakistan you have seen that in social media and overall people have different assumptions about the politicians, about the offices. These assumptions sometimes are not real, and the people who are just spreading this propagation and assumptions, they cause great deficit to the repute of the country. Let's see it. Forming a judgment before listening to everything the speaker has to say distorts your understanding. People often hear what they are expecting, which can lead to the false conclusion. Read once again. Forming judgment of listening before distort your understanding. Clear? Let the other person speak up fully. Do not make and interrupt him in the middle. So in this video we have covered the cultural barrier, emotional barriers, cultural barriers, assumptions, and jumping to conclusions and premature evaluations.